In this video, we'll paint the parts for an HD Imagination dollhouse. The first step in any dollhouse painting project is to make a painting plan. The Imagination House Paint Colors page has suggested colors which you can print out, or you can print a blank diagram and go to your Home Depot paint department to choose your own colors from their selection. The first coat of paint is all about what soaks into the wood. All wood has grain and fibers that will be surrounded and reinforced by the paint. So when you do the sanding after the first coat, fibers that stick up will be clipped off by the sandpaper. Sanding before the first coat pushes those fibers around, but it doesn't clip them off cleanly, so it doesn't help in making a smooth final finish. Putting on an extra heavy first coat or putting on more than one coat before sanding will leave paint on top of the fibers, so you'll be sanding the paint instead of the wood, and paint is incredibly tough and resists the sandpaper. Your best avenue to a smooth surface is to put on one moderate coat and to expect a lot of it to soak in, then sand it down to the wood. All of the parts of the dollhouse should be first coated with the colors you've chosen now. Priming isn't necessary, as paint adhesion isn't an issue for the first coat on a dollhouse, and it just adds steps. When you paint the railings, make sure you get paint on all the surfaces. The railings grooves will need an artist's brush to reach all the way into the nooks and crannies. I use a 3/16 flat brush for most of the small spaces on a dollhouse. Once everything has paint on it, smooth it out and mop up the excess. Painting the windows is, again, a matter of getting paint everywhere and then smoothing it out. Disassemble the doors for painting by pulling out the pins, but don't lose them. Now you can paint the door and the door frame without them sticking together. The porch fascia on the Imagination dollhouse turns into a left and right set when you paint the outside. I usually first coat the inside the house body color so that I can sand it and second coat it after assembly. Then the paint won't interfere with the glue. Paint the trim in left and right sets too. One surface, both edges, and leave the inside bare wood. A 3-inch foam roller is ideal for the smooth inside surfaces. It isn't absolutely necessary to do inside painting before assembly, but sanding the parts is easy when they're flat on the table and harder after assembly. So if you're going to paint anywhere on the inside, or if you haven't decided yet, first coat and sand the inside before assembly. As on the outside, first coat with enough paint for full coverage, but don't go back and redo spots where the paint is soaking in. Do go back to clean up excess and drips. Avoid drips on the edges too. Those will have to be scraped off later, but you can minimize them by being careful now. The roller in conjunction with a foam brush will get all the inside corners. Keep the paint lean on the roller when you paint along the grooves, and keep the roller travel in line with the groove to minimize paint getting into the groove. Any paint in the groove will have to be cleaned out later, so a bit of care now can prevent more work later on. The parts diagram and the instructions show the mid-floor from the top. Make sure you turn it over for painting the ceiling. Paint the inside of the front and rear roofs. The first coat can be full coverage without worrying about where the glue joint will be, because you will sand it until some of the wood is showing through. Then you'll have wood for the glue to grab when the house is assembled. Even the dividers can be first coated and sanded. Whether you paint or wallpaper, the sanded interior will make your work easier. That's it. Put away your tools and let the paint dry. Then you'll be ready for sanding.